Most people will tell you that if you want a tidy home, you need to clean deeply, item by item, drawer by drawer. But if you've only got 1 hour, that kind of advice can make things feel even more impossible. There was a time when I'd open a closet and just stand there, overwhelmed. Pillows everywhere, dishes still in the sink, always something left undone. I used to think I needed a full weekend to fix it, but eventually I realized it wasn't just the mess that was overwhelming. I was trying to handle everything at once, and it was exhausting. And the more I put it off, the harder it felt to even start. So today I'm sharing how I reset my home in just 1 hour, room by room. No perfection, no pressure, just small, focused steps that make a real difference. I've tried a lot of systems over the years, but it's these tiny shifts that help the most, especially on the days when you feel like you can't do one more thing. This is the version of decluttering that actually works when life's already full. Now come along with me. I'm starting in the living room because when that space is calm, the rest of the house doesn't feel so heavy. It's the space we see all the time, especially when guests walk in, and when it's chaotic, it kind of sets the tone for everything else. So I always start here when I'm doing a 1 hour reset. What helps me is something super simple. I call it the 4-corner rule. Basically, I imagine the room in 4 corners, and I go one at a time clockwise. It keeps me focused. I'm not jumping from pillows to puzzles to shelves and getting overwhelmed halfway through. It gives the cleaning a start and an end. First corner today, the bookshelf. It's not just books. This shelf somehow becomes a drop zone. I usually find a mug, a toy someone left, sometimes even random socks. So I start by clearing off everything that doesn't belong. Toys go in the toy basket, mugs to the kitchen, and if I'm honest, half of it is mine, like receipts or notes I left there and forgot. Then I grab my dry cloth and do a quick dust. Nothing fancy, just enough to clear the layer that somehow appears every few days. If I have a bit more time, I'll use my favorite natural spray. It smells like eucalyptus, kind of spa-like, and just doing that small thing makes me feel like I'm resetting the energy in the room, not just cleaning. Moving on to the second corner, the sofa and the coffee table. This is where life happens, right? Naps, snack time, movie nights, and all the mess that comes with it. So I start by fluffing the cushions and folding the blanket that's always halfway on the floor. And here's something I learned: less is really more. I used to have 6 throw pillows and 3 blankets, and it looked cute on Instagram, but every single night I had to fix all of it. Now I keep 2 cushions per side and 1 cozy blanket. Still comfy, still looks nice, but it takes seconds to tidy, not 10 minutes. I clear off the coffee table, usually a mix of toy pieces, mail, maybe an empty cup or 2. I wipe it down quickly. And honestly, this one surface alone can change how the whole room feels. Even if nothing else is perfect, a clean coffee table makes it feel like the chaos is under control. Next up, the toy area. My toddler has a puzzle obsession, so there are always at least 3 puzzles out at once, half finished. I just stack them neatly, match up any loose pieces, and do a super quick check. Are there toys here we're not playing with anymore? If something hasn't been touched in weeks, I either rotate it out or declutter it. Even removing 1 or 2 boxes makes a huge difference in how long it takes me to tidy next time. Less stuff means less cleanup, every time. Last corner, the TV unit. This is a clutter magnet. Remote controls flyers from school, someone's snack wrapper. I take a minute to clear it all. Put things in their real home, not shove them in a drawer and forget, actually deal with it. Then I wipe the surface and check if the drawers need a quick reset too. Again, I don't aim for perfect. I aim for better. A 70% tidy living room that took 15 minutes is better than chasing perfection and never starting. And once all that's done, I do 2 things that help me feel like the room is truly reset. I open a window. Fresh air makes everything feel lighter. And I light a small candle or turn on our side lamp, just something cozy that signals to my brain, okay, this space is clear, you did good. So if you're doing a quick reset in your own living room, here's what I'd suggest. Just pick a corner and start there. Work your way around so you're not jumping all over the place. That alone makes it feel less overwhelming. Clear off surfaces even if you don't have time to clean deeply. Just tidying and wiping a little bit can make such a difference. If the sofa's a mess, fold the blanket, fluff the cushions, and honestly, having fewer of those makes it way easier. For toys, don't overthink it. Just stack them back neatly, and if something's not being used, maybe it's time to rotate it out or let it go. And don't forget the little things at the end. Open a window, light a candle, or turn on a soft lamp. Those tiny signals tell your brain you've done enough, this space is calm again. And before I move on to the dining area, just a quick heads up. Tomorrow, I'm trying out a completely different approach to decluttering. It's not my usual method, and to be honest, it feels a little uncomfortable. But I've reached a point where I need to let go of things I've been holding on to for way too long. And I want to see if this new way helps. If you've ever looked at a drawer or a box and thought, I don't even know where to start, that next video might be just what you need. But for now, let's head into the dining area and reset the space where so much of our day actually happens. Now I'm moving over to the dining area. This space might seem simple, just a table and some chairs, but it somehow becomes one of the busiest, most cluttered spots in the whole house. It's where we eat, obviously, but also where the kids draw, do homework, leave toys. Sometimes it turns into my own drop zone too, receipts, packages, a cup of tea I forgot from 2 hours ago. So when I'm doing a 1-hour reset, this is one area I always try to include. First thing I do, clear the table completely. Not just shift things around, I take everything off. Even if something is staying here long term, I move it for now. The reason is simple. I want to start fresh. I've noticed that when things sit on the table for too long, they sort of fade into the background. A school paper that's been there for 3 days suddenly becomes normal. A jacket tossed on the back of a chair somehow lives there all week. So I remove it all. Dishes, papers, crayons, even salt and pepper shakers. Everything off. Give the surface a reset. Next, I wipe the table. I know that sounds obvious, but it's one of those things that's easy to skip when we're rushing. Even if it doesn't look messy, there's always something, crumbs from breakfast, fingerprints. Little sticky spots you don't notice until your sleeve lands in them. I use a soft cloth and one of my favorite sprays, usually something non-toxic and gentle, because I know food goes directly on this surface sometimes. The smell of it helps too, like a tiny mental reset. This part only takes a minute or two, but it makes the whole space feel cared for again. Not perfect, just intentional. After that, I deal with the chairs. I tuck them in check underneath for crumbs or little toys. You'd be amazed how much stuff ends up under here, especially if you've got kids. I used to ignore it because it felt like too much to tackle. But now I just take a moment to look. If I see something obvious like a sticker stuck to the leg of the chair or a crayon, I grab it. Sometimes I'll do a quick sweep under the table, but I save the big vacuuming for the end. Now I check the floor around the table. This part makes a big difference. A few crumbs here and there, totally normal. But if I leave them, they multiply, and mentally, I start to feel like the whole space is out of control. So I do a quick sweep or spot vac, nothing fancy, just enough to clear the obvious mess. It's not about deep cleaning, it's about making the space feel usable again. The last thing I do is tackle nearby surfaces. For me, that's a console table where paper tends to pile up. Mail flyers from school receipts, random notes. If I have the time, I'll sort it now, but if I don't, I just group it together neatly and put it in one tray or folder to deal with later. That one small act, putting loose paper in one place, makes the area feel calmer immediately. Even if I haven't solved it yet, it's not screaming for attention anymore. And once everything is back in order, the table wiped, the chairs tucked in, floor cleared, I step back and just pause for a second. Because this space, it's where we connect. We don't always have perfect dinners, but even on the chaotic days, this is where we sit, where we talk, where we take a breath together. And when the space is clear, it invites that kind of connection. It feels like there's room again for conversation, for slowing down, for simply being here. So if you're feeling like your table's been buried for days, you're not alone. Just start with one thing, clear it off, wipe it down. Don't worry about organizing everything perfectly. Just give yourself a clean slate. And if there's a stack of papers or mail you can't get to right now, group it, set it aside, and come back when you can. You're not failing if it's not all done, you're resetting. and that's more than enough. Now I'm heading into the kitchen. This is probably the most used space in the whole house, and honestly, it builds up mess fast. Between breakfast, lunch prep snacks, coffee, there's always something going on in here. So when I only have an hour to reset the house, I don't try to deep clean the kitchen. I just do what makes it feel usable again. First thing I do is check the counters. Are there dirty dishes? Crumbs, appliances that got dragged out and never put away? I start by loading whatever I can into the dishwasher. Even if it's not full yet, I'll run it if it means having a clean sink. Because for me, and maybe for you too, a clear sink instantly makes the kitchen feel more under control. If there are dishes that need hand washing, I do them quickly. I don't aim for perfection just enough that I'm not facing a mountain later tonight. Even rinsing a few bowls and stacking them to air dry gives me breathing room. Next, I wipe down the counters. Not just where I was cooking, I do a sweep of the whole surface. Under the toaster beside the kettle around the sink, where water splashes all day. If I see crumbs behind something, I lift it and do a quick clean underneath. This takes maybe 2 or 3 minutes, but visually it makes the whole kitchen feel fresh again. And while I'm here, I always try to put away anything we don't use daily. That's something I learned the hard way. The more stuff left out, the harder it is to clean. So I use what I call the 5 out of 7 rule. If we don't use it at least 5 days a week, it gets stored. Coffee machine out. Blender we use once a month. That goes in the cupboard. This one habit changed everything. It gave me back my counter space and made wiping down surfaces a 1-minute job instead of 10. Then I check the trash and recycling. If it's close to full, I take it out even if I could probably fit more. Because nothing makes a clean kitchen feel gross faster than an overflowing bin. Same with compost if you use one. I like emptying it and wiping around the bin lid before it gets sticky. Again, not deep cleaning, just staying ahead of the little things. Now I scan the floor. Do I have time to sweep or vacuum right now? If I do, great. If not, I'll just pick up any obvious crumbs, wrappers, or bits of food. Because I've learned that even a quick sweep under the table or around the counters helps prevent that ugh moment later when you step on something barefoot. And finally, I do one small thing that makes the space feel complete. I wipe the stove knobs and splash zone behind the cooker. It takes maybe 30 seconds, but it's one of those high visibility areas that make the kitchen look cleaner than it actually is. If I have a few more minutes, I might give the sink a little scrub or run a cloth across the fridge handles, just the things we touch the most. Once all that's done, sink clear, surfaces, wiped trash out. I light a candle on the windowsill or open the window for some air. That's my little "this kitchen is ready" moment. It doesn't have to be spotless. It just has to feel calm enough to cook in again. So if your kitchen's been stressing you out lately, try starting small. Clear the sink, wipe one counter, put away one appliance. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. Just make it feel like your space again, a place where meals happen, where your day begins. Because when the kitchen feels calm, everything else somehow feels a little more doable too. Now I'm heading into my kids' room, and honestly, I've learned not to expect it to stay clean for long. But that's not really the goal. I don't tidy their space to make it perfect. I tidy it just enough so they can actually enjoy it. So they can see what toys they have. So getting dressed isn't a battle. And so I don't feel that wave of stress every time I walk past the door. I usually start with the floor, because that's where most of the mess ends up: toys, socks, puzzle pieces, crayons. I do a quick scan and pick up what's easy first. Sometimes I grab an empty basket and just do a sweep, not organizing, just collecting. It's faster than trying to deal with every item one by one, and it gives me a sense of momentum, like, okay, something is happening here. Next, I reset the main play area. For us, that's the dollhouse and the kitchen set. I don't sort every piece, I just put things back in the general zone. Plates in the toy kitchen, tiny beds back in the dollhouse. Even a rough reset helps. When it's too chaotic, they don't play, they just dump more stuff out looking for something they can't even see. Then I move to the shelves. We keep most of the books and puzzles on low shelves they can reach. And here's the thing, I don't try to make it look Pinterest perfect. I just stand up the books, stack the puzzles, and maybe pull out one or two that haven't been touched in a while. If it feels like the shelf is overflowing, that's usually my cue that it's time to rotate or declutter. Sometimes I'll quietly take a few items out and put them in storage just to give the space a little breathing room. And you know what? They almost never notice what's gone, but they do notice when their space feels calmer. They play longer. They get less frustrated. And that means I get a little more peace too. Then I take a minute to deal with clothes. Either stuff on the floor or clothes I meant to fold and never did. Sometimes it's just putting a few things back in drawers. Other times I take 5 minutes to go through what no longer fits, especially for my toddler, who seems to outgrow something every other week. I don't do a full wardrobe overhaul, just pull out the obvious things, shirts that won't go over her head, socks that barely stretch. It keeps the drawers from overflowing and makes getting dressed smoother in the mornings. After that, I check little surfaces, the nightstand, the window ledge, the top of the dresser. Kids love putting little treasures everywhere, pine cones, stickers, half-used lip balm. I let some of it stay because it's theirs, but I also clear off anything broken, sticky, or that clearly doesn't belong here anymore. This part isn't really about the stuff, it's about helping the room feel a little lighter so they can rest and play without that low-key chaos everywhere. And finally, I do what I call a reset ritual. I open the window for some air. I turn on their fairy lights or a soft lamp. Sometimes I even vacuum if I have the energy, but if not, I just straighten the rug and step back. I don't aim for spotless. I aim for easier to live in. And honestly, that's enough. So, if your kid's room feels like a disaster right now, start small. Grab a basket and do a quick sweep. Don't try to organize everything, just reset it so they can see what they have. A little less clutter often means a lot more calm for them and for you. And that's really what we're aiming for. Alright, now I'm heading into the downstairs bathroom. This one's small, but it matters. Because even if the rest of the house is okay, a messy bathroom just makes the whole space feel off. Especially when guests come over, this is usually the one they'll see. So I always try to give it a quick reset even if I'm short on time. First thing I do is clear the surfaces. Ours is pretty minimal, but it still collects stuff. Hair ties, toothpaste caps, a half-used hand cream. I grab anything that doesn't belong and put it in its place or just toss it if it's empty or crusty. Then I give the sink a wipe. Even if it looks clean, there's always toothpaste splatter or water spots around the faucet. Sometimes it's from the kids, sometimes from me rushing in the morning. But it builds up fast and takes less than a minute to fix. I use the same spray I use around the house, something gentle but effective. And I keep a microfiber cloth in the vanity so I can do this step quickly without going to get supplies. Next, I check the mirror. Because water spots and fingerprints. They show up fast, and when the mirror's clean, the whole space just feels fresher. So I do a quick spray and wipe, nothing fancy. If you've got kids, this step is especially worth it. Their handprints somehow end up in places you wouldn't expect. Then I move to the toilet. And I'll be honest, I've tried so many non-toxic cleaners, but this is one spot where I usually go with something stronger. Bleach or a toilet gel just to get it really clean. I scrub the bowl wipe down the seat, the handle, the base. It only takes a couple of minutes, but it makes a big difference both in how it looks and how it smells. And I always check behind the toilet too because dust and hair love to collect there and it's easy to forget. After that, I restock. Toilet paper, hand soap, a clean towel. I like to keep one backup roll visible not just for guests, but so I don't get caught off guard when we're in a rush. If the soap bottle's almost empty, I refill it now. Little things like that make daily life smoother and stop me from running around later looking for stuff. Then I check the floor. Since this is such a small space, I usually just do a quick wipe by hand, especially around the base of the toilet and near the door. If I have time, I'll grab the vacuum or mop, but even 5 minutes of attention goes a long way. Sometimes I light a little candle in here or use a natural spray with essential oils, just something to freshen it up. It's not about making it fancy, just making it feel clean, safe, and taken care of. And finally, I do a mental check. Is the bin empty? Do we have clean towels? Would I feel okay if someone used this space right now? If the answer is yes, then I'm done. So if you're tight on time but want one space to feel instantly better, this is a good one. The downstairs bathroom is small but high impact. And when it's clean, it gives you that little boost of, okay, I've got this. It doesn't take long. Clear the sink, wipe the mirror, scrub the toilet, swap out the towel, light a candle if you want. That's it. And honestly, that's enough to reset the whole vibe of your home, even if everything else is still a work in progress. All right, last stop into this 1-hour reset, the entryway. This space might seem small and easy to skip, but honestly, it sets the tone for the whole house. It's the first thing we see when we walk in. And when it's a mess, it kind of makes everything else feel messy too, even if the rest of the house is okay. I always start with the shoes. We don't have a big mudroom or anything, just a narrow little hallway with a slim shoe cabinet. And still, shoes somehow end up everywhere. So I go through and match up pairs, put them back in the cabinet, and leave out only what we're actually using this week. Right now, it's sneakers, school shoes, and 1 pair of rain boots for each kid. That's it. The rest, into the cabinet or back in the closet. When there are fewer shoes out, the whole space feels wider, like I can actually breathe when I come in. Then I tackle jackets and bags. I check the hooks. Usually someone's raincoat is still hanging there from 3 days ago. If it's dry, I put it back in the wardrobe. Backpacks go in their spot, and I take a minute to check for clutter in the pockets, receipts, snack wrappers, random little papers. It's a simple thing, but it helps. When these things are where they belong, mornings are just easier. No more, "Where's my bag?" or "Mom, I can't find my shoes." Next, I check the surfaces. If you have a console table or a shelf here, you know what I mean. This is where keys, sunglasses, mail, and 100 other little things end up. I clear off the top first. Junk mail gets tossed. Sunglasses back in the basket. Loose change into the drawer. And if there's something that doesn't have a home, I ask myself, do I really need to keep this? If not, I let it go. If yes, I give it a home, not just leave it here out of habit. Then I wipe everything down. The top of the shoe cabinet, the shelf, the mirror, especially the mirror. It gets fingerprints and smudges really fast. I don't deep clean, just a quick spray and cloth. But even that makes the whole hallway feel brighter and more cared for. After that, I check the floor. Our hallway gets a lot of traffic, and since it's narrow, dirt shows up fast. I sweep or vacuum depending on what's needed. Sometimes I just grab the handheld vacuum and do a quick pass, especially around the baseboards and under the shoe cabinet. If I have time, I'll mop too. But honestly, even just clearing the dust and crumbs helps a lot. And finally, I add one small touch to make it feel done. Sometimes I put a little plant here or light a candle if it's later in the day. Other times, I just open the front door for a few minutes, let some fresh air in. It's a signal both to myself and to the house this space is clear now. We're ready to welcome whatever comes next. So if your hallway's been feeling like a dumping ground lately, don't ignore it. It doesn't take much to reset it. Tidy the shoes, put the bags back, toss the junk mail, wipe one surface, vacuum if you can, light a candle if you want. It's small, but powerful, because when you walk into a space that feels calm, it changes how you feel before you've even taken off your shoes. And that's it, 1 hour, 1 full house reset. It wasn't perfect and I didn't get to every little corner, but that's okay. The goal was never perfection, it was peace. And honestly, the house feels lighter now. The mess isn't screaming at me. I can breathe a little deeper. I can walk from room to room and not feel overwhelmed by what's waiting for me in each one. And if you're watching this thinking I could never do all that in an hour, please know neither could I at first. But with time and a few little mindset shifts, this kind of reset has become my go-to. Not a deep clean, not a full-on overhaul, just 1 hour of small wins. That add up to a big difference. Next time, I'm actually trying something new. A different way of decluttering that feels a little scary because it's not how I usually do things. But I want to see if it helps me let go of stuff I've been holding on to for way too long. If you've ever looked at a drawer or a closet and thought, why is this still here? You might want to see how this goes. Until then, take care of your space and yourself. And if this kind of content makes your day feel a little bit lighter, feel free to subscribe or just come back when you need it. You're always welcome here.